Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of You Are Meant for More. I'm your host, Francine Ayala, and I have an amazing guest that is joining me today. And we literally cannot wait to dive into this topic. So, he is someone that is literally empowering women that are my age, you know, a little bit up there, but not quite really up there, and really empowering them to step into their wellness journey and their overall fitness. And he's a food and fitness coach. And of course, he has a background that is going to surprise you all. And I can't wait to have him share his story. But his name is Ramell Taylor. So thank you, Ramell, for joining me today on today's show and diving into the topic of self-sabotage, self-care, and rewriting your relationship with your body. Thank you
Thank
for
you
being
for
here.
having me. Thank you for having me, Francine. I appreciate
Of
you.
course, of course, of course. So, you guys, Ramel and I, when we met the first time, just like synergy, and you guys know I'm all about that. You meet great people and you have this alignment, and you know that there's purpose there, there's meaning there, and they're changing lives. And how can we support one another to reach more and to lift people up where they're at? And what he does is phenomenal because I had my own journey. But before I share a little bit about what I went through, I want him to share first about his story. And before we hop into that, if you're new to this channel, thank you so much for being here. Appreciate you. We got a lot of mindset tips coming for you. So stay tuned. I'm all about confidence and transformation. We're going to talk a little bit about the Women Empowerment Conference that we're doing at the end of the month on September 27th. So save the date, Pasadena, California. Ramel is going to be Ramel is going to be one of our phenomenal speakers. So you definitely want to stay tuned. And here's a little glimpse as far as what we do or what I do and what we do here in our company. So guess what? You're not in it alone because there's tons of women out there that are struggling just like you who want to be there to support you.
Francine Ayala.
All right. That's just a little glimpse, you guys. It's a little glimpse into what we do as far as like the types of events and the lives that we're changing. And that was actually a summit. Our conference is going to be even bigger and can't wait to have you all there. All right. So, Ramel, we're going to dive into your story. So, if you're joining us live, thank you so much for being here. Please let me know if I'm okay, if you can hear us okay, if our volume is okay, because for some reason I keep bringing my mic closer and it keeps moving away from me. Look. Like, what's going on?
That's kind of
I'm,
cool, though.
I'm wondering if it's the heat because it wasn't doing that before. And so I'm just like, why are you moving away from me? I'm like, don't make me chase you. But if you're joining us live, let us know if you can hear, if we sound good, if A-okay, good to go. And, but we'll keep going. All right, Ramel. So tell us a little bit about who you are, what you do, and how you're impacting women all over the world.
Yeah, so my name is Ramell Taylor. I'm a food and fitness coach. What that means is that, um, I know what I'm talking about inside the gym and inside the kitchen because I know that you can't be good at one and not the other. It's kind of like, working harder versus working smarter. And so my background in fitness started about the age of 12. I was sitting at home as like a little preteen, and I was a little bullied as a kid. And I remember watching a professional wrestling, like a TV show. It's like a dude wanting to fight Hulk Hogan, and he's like, "I'm going to do 500 push-ups, 500 sit-ups, 500 jumping jacks, 500 air squats." We're from 6 months from now, and then when I see you in the ring, Hogan, it's me and you, and I'm gonna put you in an armbar, on the lines of that. Now, as a Hulk Hogan fan at the time, RIP, he just passed away. As a fan, as a kid, eating my vitamins and saying my prayers, I didn't think he could beat Hogan, but I'm like, I like his game
Yeah.
plan. It seems sound. So I actually did that. I took a marker, took out an old school calendar when they used to hang those things up, and circled the date 6 months from the date at the time I was 12 years old. And I said I was going to do that same routine for 6 months, and then I was going to confront my bully. And fast forward 6 months, one punch. I get high fives from the principal and stuff for standing my ground. And again, I don't condone fighting, but what I did learn at a very early age is that if you are consistent and if you are doing things at a consistent basis, you will get better, you will get stronger, you will get more confident. And so that just leaked into me, into playing basketball, which I started in high school. I was very blessed to go on and play professional basketball for the countries of Poland, Norway, Iceland. And my claim to fame is that I was on the training camp roster for the Golden State Warriors in 2013, which is, I've been around some pretty cool fitness coaches, trainers, just some great psychology coaches, and so what I do is I share all this wealth of knowledge, um, with the people I work with. And basically, I am their coach. Again, I'm the trainer, and it's always cool to come up with fads, but at the end of the day, it's about a connection. I know what it's like to have someone in your corner. I know what it's like to have someone coach you for progress, and I provide that to women who work very well in that type of environment. So,
Yes. Us women, entrepreneurs or career women, that are driven and focused and really are chasing goals and dreams. And I love that. And that's why we connected, because I knew there was a need. I went through the same struggle. And first off, let me just congratulate your determination to follow through with the bully. That makes me laugh. The
yeah,
principal acknowledge high-fiving you. I mean, it's like it's not even a thing today, but it's the fact that you took ownership in that process at such a young age. And so you already had that mindset of determination and that you were going out to accomplish what it is you set yourself out to do. And so sometimes
I don't
life
condone
will,
fighting, by the way. I
right.
mean,
No,
I've been in, I've
definitely.
been in, I can count on one hand how many fights I've been in.
Yes, I same. So yes, I understand. We're not trying to say that. It's just, understand that there's a process in consistency and staying true to what it is you want to do in your life, and chasing those goals through a process, a strategy, a process, and consistency is what is needed. And the thing is, like, in everything that we do, we're going to notice that, we're going to talk more about this, but, like, if you fall off in any way, shape, or form, get back up, get back up. Guess what that is? That's consistency. So it's
For sure.
simple as that. You know what I mean? But I want to thank Erica. Thank you, Erica. Hey, girl. Hey, we can hear you clearly. I appreciate you. Thank you so much. Yeah, because I was like, what is going on here? Okay, so a couple things we want to touch base on that I was talking to Ramel about, because it's so relatable. Is Ramel diet. Us women, diet. I'm sorry, I threw away diet and scales a while back because they no longer serve a purpose in our life. When people really start to understand food and how it fuels your body, then you're making better choices. And so I wanted you to touch a little bit about that, because one of our topics that we were going to talk about is, like, sorry, I had it right here, you guys. I have notes, but it was going to be all about what your body struggles aren't really about food or fitness. It's about the story in your head. And so before we dive into the story in your head, we're going to first talk about what diet actually means, right?
Yeah. So
How about we
I,
take that word?
yeah, that's my philosophy. Anything with die in it, the word DIE, um, tends to have some caution to it. So I'd like you to throw away the word diet and replace it with nutrition. Nutrition is sustainable. Um, Diet is restrictive. Um, so there's just certain, the way you frame things, for example, um, not eat, there's crazy types of diets, right? So there's keto diets, there's vegan diets, and things of that nature. And I'll be honest, what works for one person is not necessarily going to work for the other
Yep.
person, because I can't, if I'm working with two different women,
Nailed it.
th-
Nailed it.
I
Nailed it.
I
Nailed
can't
it. Nailed it.
I can't really copy and paste the answer for each woman. No two women
No,
have the same schedules, the
absolutely.
same biology makeup, the same chemistry makeup, the same goals, the same
Yep.
ideas, the same motivations. So, I think it's important that it's cool to look over your shoulder and see what is working with for other people, and
Yeah.
even test those things in a small scientific experiment with yourself. But I think I'm a fan of, if it yields good fruit, then it must be a good seed. So I
Oh,
think
absolutely.
stick with what works for you, and if what is working for someone is not working for you, then it's time to explore some more options. What do you have to lose, right? Nothing else is
Right.
working.
I'm sorry. Wait. I'm
Yeah,
sorry.
exactly that.
Inches. I'm just kidding. All right, you guys, really quick. If you have questions, go ahead and drop them in the chat as I dive into this next thing, because I want the ladies to understand, and I know we have men here as well that watch the show. Grateful for every single one of you that joins us. But also scales. I have to throw this out there, because when I started my own wellness and fitness journey, I realized the scale does not matter. Guess what matters? How my clothes fit, how confident I feel, how sexy I look. That's all
Mhm.
that matters to me. I'm sorry. No number on a scale is not going to dictate who I am. I get to dictate that. And so I threw scales away a long time ago, because what happens is, as we get older, and especially the women that you're coaching, which are in my range, and I have no problem sharing, I just turned a hot 47. Woo, woo, like 2 or 3 days ago. When was August
Congrats.
31st? Thank you. So it's just really about understanding that we're also changing. Our bodies are changing, hormonal changes. And that's something that you dive into with the ladies that you help as well, because you understand the process in which every single woman's body is different. So, ladies, love on yourself. Know that you have a process to go through, and Ramel can help guide you through that process, whatever that may be, whether, like, some women deal with thyroid issues, or you know, things that are keeping them from losing the weight, and their weight is constantly going up and down, or just staying stagnant. So he knows what's going to work for your body, the nutrition that you're going to need, and so forth.
Yeah,
But we can go
absolutely.
into all of that. So, all right.
Yeah.
So the next one is the trauma patterns that show up as physical symptoms and self-destructive habits. Ooh, Ramel. You want
Mm.
to dive into that one?
Yeah, for sure. Self-sabotage is real. It can stem from many reasons. There could be pre-existing beliefs that are limiting you, that no longer serve you. For example, half the people tell themselves they're too young to do something, half the other half tell themselves they're too old. And so nobody ever told themselves that today matters. And so building it, like, instead of having your whole home built tomorrow, it's okay to lay a brick today and a brick tomorrow and a brick, because after 30 days you'll have 30 bricks, 60 bricks, 90 bricks, and that home will get there eventually. um, but not if we're window shopping for a home and we never truly set our feet into the foundation in the mud first. So
And that's
it
where
really,
it begins with. Yeah. Sorry about that.
yeah,
Go ahead.
it doesn't begin and end, but it definitely begins with failing to prepare first. I think that's
Mm.
the number one thing. For example,
One of my favorite
uh
quotes, by the way.
yeah, you fail to prepare, you prepared to fail, right?
Yep.
um for example, I work with women. Most of my successful women, they usually are preparing the night before for their sessions the next morning, or what so. But then there's some people that, for some reason, they just let life come at them as at the seat of their pants, at the heat of the moment. And so that's an unnecessary pressure. There's a reason that athletes show up to the arenas sometimes 2 and 3 hours early. Um, because we don't want that. We already got enough pressure on us to carry out the task. We don't need to add to the pressure by, not giving ourselves enough time to comfortably stroll in and listen to our favorite songs on the way to the arenas or to the way to work and things of that nature. And then the second part of that, I would say, is meeting the challenge. For example, sometimes, week 1, week 2, week 3, week 4, you go there. Then that week 5 hits you. And that week 5 challenge is kind of like he's not budging as easy as that week 1 through 4, right? So that's where the coach, it helps to have that person in your ear going, you got it, walk you through
Mm-hmm.
it step by step, help you meet each goal. But a lot of times, if you don't have that in your corner, you won't pick yourself up and rise to the occasion as on an athletic level, or athletic terms, we rise to the occasion under pressure. And so that's what I teach women how to do. They already know how to do it in their industry, which is crazy.
Yeah.
And so
Yeah.
it's a lot harder when you're going through that mental, physical, emotional, global fatigue. Your heart rate's up, a little harder to think
Mm-hmm.
logical. So that's why it helps to have someone in your ear.
Yeah, absolutely. To walk you and guide you through that process because I'm sorry, I don't know how many of you have like done something like me today where it's I knew I had a show, but let me turn on the AC 2 hours ahead of time so it at least cools the bedroom down. So
Yeah.
sometimes, women we go through like this brain fog that we don't even realize, like, oh yeah, huh. That would be beneficial. And you know what I mean? So to have somebody in your corner, to have somebody support you in this process is something that we all need, whether it's a mentor, a friend, a coach, as a confidence and transformational coach that what I do is I encourage and empower and inspire women, to step into their power and purpose because I know they were meant for more. God didn't place us to be ordinary. He placed us here to be extraordinary and to make moves for others. And that's what we're meant to do. So, all right, let's see if we got some people here in the chat. Okay, Will, you're never too young or too old for anything, regardless of what you want to aim for.
Amen.
100%. Amen. Love that. Yes, yes. And then never fight out of fear, but never fear to fight. All
Amen
right.
to that too. Okay.
I love that. There you go. Awesome. Well, thank you for sharing. All right. So we're going to go ahead and talk about how perfectionism and all or nothing show up as physical symptoms and self-destructive. I'm sorry, physicals. Look at, I went into two sentences. How perfectionism and all or nothing thinking keep you stuck in cycles of shame. So I guess this is where a good place to kind of share my story. So growing up, I was always like the yo-yo diets and the heavy, not heavy, heavy, back and forth. And it was just a constant like struggle of like, oh, well, I guess I'm just fat. I saw a meme the other day that was just like, a girl just or a coach reached out to a woman and she's just like, he's like, hey, how you doing? And she's like, you know what, coach, I just decided to stay fat. Granted, it made me giggle. But the thing is, what happens when you keep the extra pounds on and you lose that energy? Women reach out to me and they're like, "Oh, I'm so sluggish and I can't get out of bed and I love seeing you on your walks, but I'm so tired." Well, let's talk about that. The thing is, what we put in our body, what we put in our mind, what we're constantly showing up to see, to live through, the patterns that Ramel and I just talked about, everything affects how we show up in our physical being. This is our temple. And so I was, going through the yo-yo dieting back then. And then it wasn't until I started in community with other women that were going after the same goals. It was really understanding my body as a whole by going through micro and macro types of nutrition. I know Ramel can touch
Hmm.
more on that, but it was really understanding my body design And it's like funny because I'll even share a story. I went to, as a coach and speaker, I get invited to a lot of these different entrepreneur events, either as a speaker or as a guest. And this last one I went, it was probably about a year ago. And this guy, he called us out. Let me share really quick. It was so fun. I thought it was funny because I was like, amen. But some people took offense to it. But let me share what it was. He's like, if you're all sitting here as mindset coaches, why are you overweight?
It's kind of harsh, but I get his point.
I did. Well, the thing is, okay, I guess, yes, I understand. But the thing about me is because I'm that person that, like, you can't tell me anything that will affect me. It really won't.
Yeah, you'll
Because
find the
I've done
truth.
so much mindset work, because I've done so much releasing, loving, healing, spiritual psychology, you name it. Like, you can tell me anything and I'll either laugh or I'll just be like, oh, you know what I mean? But nobody
Yeah,
can affect who I am as a person. They can't throw their energy on me because my energy will block it. So it made me laugh. It made me
that's
laugh, but
good.
he got ridiculed by another woman. But again, it's not necessary. I'm not telling anybody like, hey, if you're a mindset, you do this, and why are you, overweight, the whole bit. I'm not saying that. It's just a matter of really understanding that we have the ability to make changes.
Yeah,
Granted, we're going to, a lot of us women will maybe, or men will throw out the whole, well, I can't because, well, I can't do this because, well, because this, well, because that. But guess what? Those words are keeping you stuck. They're keeping you playing small in this whole victim mentality. When in actuality, you have the decision, you have the power to say, I can.
heck yeah.
So,
I'd like to share a cool psychology story about Dr. Paul Cottney. He's a world famous. Believe he was Lady Gaga's
ooh,
psychotherapist. I could be wrong, but I believe he worked with Lady Gaga, and he had an interesting theory. There's a parasite that enters mice called toxoplasm, or it's toxoplasmosis,
okay.
and it's a parasite that called toxoplasm that enters the mice. And so this parasite will cause trauma in the mice's mind to rewire the thinking of a mice to
Mm-hmm.
not be fearful of cats as a
Ooh.
survival tactic. And so his theory on trauma is that trauma
Mm-hmm.
does the same thing. Trauma will
Mm-hmm.
feed onto any pre-existing belief that serves
Mm-hmm.
it, and it doesn't serve you.
Right.
And so sometimes it takes someone outside of yourself to point that out to you, if you're not able to catch that for yourself. So coaches are really good at, this is where you go, and we're going to try to point you in that right direction. Um,
Absolutely.
yeah. So these things that for example, if we break down why we can't do something, my excuse to all my ladies is like, you have the same amount of hours in a day as Beyonce. And then of course my smart sassy ladies got something to say back, but it's true. Like, you have the same amount of hours as Beyonce, man. And Beyonce is working on routines. She's being a mom. She's being a business lady. She's doing all these, wearing all these hats. Yes, she does have help.
I was going
But
to say she has like 10, 15, 20 assistants. I'm just
kudos
saying.
kudos to her for even having the ability to
I have
delegate.
two, Ramel. I have two.
Some of us, we got to delegate a little bit. No, I'm not saying we got the power to delegate everything,
No,
but
I know.
some of us are holding on to some things that we need to get rid of so we can take care
Oh,
of ourselves.
absolutely.
We're just way, put it like this. You guys are CEOs. You guys are founding owners and co-owners of places. Um,
100%.
we need you. We can't have Steve Jobs on the line. We need you in higher places. You're wanted in a exalted place. So, um, you know, that's where
And, and I just got to preface this that Ramel got me to work out at 8 p.m. No, was it 8 or 9 p.m.?
pretty late.
And after our workout, I was done. Like, it was funny that it took me like 2 to 3 days to recover, but it was
Mhm.
only because I was just jumping back in, and it was so funny. But the thing is, like, I found the time, And it's like, if it's something that you want in your life, you have to find the time. And it's funny because I even told Ramel, I'm like, okay, I could do 5 days a week. 5 days. He's like, yeah, I'm going to scale you back to 3. I'm like, really? I love you
Yeah.
for that. I
Yeah.
was just like, thank you.
And that's that all the nothing mentality. I get it, man. When
Yeah.
the motivation's high, I get it. Like,
Yeah.
I want you to feel like that all the time. But the problem
Yeah.
is you're not going to feel like that. You're not
Yeah.
going to feel like that in week 5, day 17, when you didn't get a lot of sleep and there's some deadlines and you're just tired. You're just not going to feel like that. As an athlete,
Yeah.
I trained at the highest level 6 days a week, 6 hours a day. I can tell you I did not always feel like it. However, I was, every time I got myself and told myself a story, there's always a story to tell you not to do it, but there's always a story that can convince you to do it. So
Yeah.
if you can listen to that story, then you'll flex that willpower, that discipline muscle, and then it'll be a lot stronger the next time and the next time and the next time.
And you guys, drop in your questions. What are you struggling with that we can support you in? Like, how can we give you tips? And don't feel ashamed, don't feel guilt, nothing. Because let me tell you about that. Give yourself grace for how far you've come. As an entrepreneur and businesswoman myself, who's failed more times than I can count at my job, at my business, at my career, whatever that may look like in my space, I did it and I kept coming. I kept showing up. I kept showing up, like persistence, right? Consistency is key. But one of the biggest lessons I learned is to show myself grace for how far I've come. So if you're starting a fitness regimen, a workout regimen, a wellness journey, and you stumble and you're just like, I can't do this. See, this is why I can't. No, I'm sorry. You're going to give yourself rest. You're going to give yourself grace. Like I gave myself 2 or 3 days after working with Ramel, and then I went back at it. Give yourself that time. Give yourself that love. And I don't care if you miss a day, 2 days, if you miss 3 days, I want you back up the fourth day. And Ramel's going to tell you the same thing. The thing is just to stay consistent. Consistency doesn't look like that for everyone. You just can't quit because your body is your temple and you're allowing it, you're loving it the way God loves it. It's the foundation of who you are. So as a boss woman, as a boss in general, like because I know some of the men are watching, you have to take care of this. You have to take care of this. You have to take care of this. And what you feed yourself in order for it to really propel you forward to hit those goals, to go out in life and be successful and to attain whatever it is that you're working towards. Ramel.
I agree. I mean, you're preaching to the choir right now. Yeah, you only get one body. It's funny that people neglect their bodies for work. For children, for I mean, decent reasons, very unselfish reasons. But I mean, you only get one body, right? That thing, and then that's probably the only thing promised to you to until you decide to leave this place. And so when you really think about it like that and just really take care of it, and it doesn't have to be like it's kind of like like a garden. Like, you don't spend a lot of time. People with nice gardens don't spend all day in their gardens, maybe every now and then, but
Yeah.
it's more like a maintenance process, an hour a day, but
Yeah.
a couple days a week. And that's the same thing. Just block out time to spend, treat your body as if it's a person, and this is your BFF. And a lot of us, our BFFs would be mad as hell at us because we're not being real good friends to our BFF, right? We're being really neglective. We're not spending time with it. So, just like any great relationship, you have to be present and you have to spend time. And over time, that relationship gets stronger and stronger. And then those 10-year relationships, you see those people on those 10-year journeys for fitness. By the way, if you have a hiatus in your journey, um, that's still a part of your journey, by the way. That's the thing. Your journey never ends. No, it only ends when you say it ends. So um, this is only a hiatus, and move past it and begin your journey. But to your point, yeah, you just hit it on the head. You got to take care of your
Mhm.
body.
And the thing is, like, I have to just share, it is so simple. And let me just break it down how simple it is. I'm going to break it down for me. Okay. Now, granted, working with you is going to be phenomenal. But like for me, like I learned how to eat. So where people think diet, I think like healthy living. So like me, for example, 3 eggs, an apple, and some peanut butter in the morning. So like protein, a little bit of carbs, and you know, I think it's what, a little bit of sugar because of the apple. But again, understanding that fruit sugar isn't is better than regular sugar. Lunch is like an overall Mediterranean salad and chicken and white rice for dinner. It's super simple, I'm telling you. And the reason why I say this is because for somebody who's as busy as me, I need to plan. Because if you fail to plan, you plan to fail. Benjamin Franklin, one of my favorite quotes. And Ramel, you said it earlier, because you're not setting yourself up for success. But all I'm saying is like, and then protein shakes, right? I mean, Ramel has a whole nutrition program, which is like helps you adapt to your specific needs. I say this because, again, I know the process. I've been there, and all I had to do is prepare it because I know my body. I've already done the work. I've already went through the macro, the micro, and things like that. So I understand what works for my body. But if you don't, this is where Ramel comes in so that he can break it down, with your blood work, with who you are, where you're at right now, physically, mentally, and guide you through that process, right? And that's what I love about what he's doing to help women in that space. Okay, so we're going to go on to the next one. All right, the difference between punishment based fitness and love based self care. Ha ha
Mm. Good coach, bad coach.
ha. Go for it, Ramel.
All right, so um, I just put myself in it, right? I've had some really good coaches, that the ones that you lose a tough game and they put their arm around you, tell you it's okay, and encourage you to keep going harder the next time. You're just this close away from getting it right. Then you got those coaches that they panic, and their traumas lash out, and you know trauma begots trauma. Um, so now, if you're doing this on your own, and you're your own coach, uh, you have that's if you're doing this on your own, you are your own coach, right? Even if you don't want a coach, um, you are your own coach. So, what type of coach are you? And what's the voice in the back of your head telling yourself when you're in the session? Is it empowering, or is it like, this is it? I can only walk a quarter mile today. Not congratulating. And I would just encourage people to talk to themselves like the 3-year-old selves. It's weird. I know we've evolved. Like you mentioned, don't look a day over 30, and you said you're 47. But you also are
I
the
know, right?
3-year-old. Yeah, right. You also are the 3-year-old you are the
Yeah.
3-year-old you once. And so I would just encourage you to talk to yourself like the 3-year-old you. I know it's very hard to do, especially when you're a high performing athlete. Imagine telling a professional basketball player, "Hey, talk to yourself like the 3-year-old you," right? You're like, "What, coach? The coach is high." But he's right. Talk to you once were 3 years old, and you need to give yourself that compassion. 3 elements to overcoming trauma: community, which we touched on, compassion, and humanity. How would you talk to a human, right? We don't want to dehumanize ourselves. So we got to make sure that that voice is telling. And if that voice is saying things like that, I want to let you know that sometimes that voice has a mind of its own. Your subconscious has a mind of its own, and it's not important to control that voice, um, but treat it as if it's a annoying roommate, right? If some of us had roommates that talk to ourselves the way that we talk to ourselves, I think I said it wrong, but um, If our voice was roommates, we'd probably kick them out or tell them to go to hell or something like that. And that's the same thing you got to do to that small little doubt, that voice of doubt. You just got to tell it, like, hey, go to hell, man. I don't got it right now, but I'll figure it out. So,
Yeah.
and just keep and proceed.
My coach always told us it's your little itty bitty shitty committee. So put them
Yeah,
in check.
exactly. That's a real good analogy. I like that.
It really is because, what I do. So I'm also NLP certified neuro linguistic programming. So I focus a lot on the mindset and the rewiring of our patterns and behaviors and how we speak to ourselves. Now, just quick tips is our subconscious mind is there to protect us. It will bring up situations and past traumas that no longer serve us, but it thinks it's protecting us. And this is where you got to understand and become aware of what's happening around you in your life and how it's affecting you overall. So we always talk about as successful entrepreneurs, it's like you are the 5 people you surround yourself with. So where you're spending your time, where you're putting your energy, and where your thoughts, where your conversations are leading to, that's where you're at. So remember who it is you're around and how it's going to affect you mentally, physically, and emotionally.
Yeah.
And, this is why certain things will happen and the same patterns will recreate themselves. So, yes, this is why coaches come in. This is why, they're guided to help you in that process because so many people are running blindly on these past patterns that are no longer serving you.
Limiting beliefs,
Limiting beliefs,
pre-existing limiting
pre-existing.
beliefs.
Yes, absolutely. So,
Basically,
go ahead.
I just want to like I want to share, what happens when you're trying to make a change. Your mind is trying to process two scripts at one time. It's trying to process the old habits and the new habits. And so, giving your computer two commands can get a little confusing. And so, what happens is it naturally is going to default to the more comfortable script. And
Yep.
that's where you got to step in manually each day until that becomes your new script.
And that's actually something I was going to touch on too and forgot. So thank you for that. Is our subconscious mind is also rewired to think negatively first. So if that's something that you're aware of already out the gate, how do you get to shift that pattern? How do you get to show up and say, nope, I'm going to have a different narrative?
Mm.
That's not who I am anymore. This is who I am. So, yeah, there's a lot of work that goes behind it, but you deserve it. You were meant for more. You're worthy of it. So, why not take advantage?
Mm-hmm.
You guys, before we close out or continue on, I want to see if any of you guys have any questions that we can support you with. Please drop them in the chat so that we can answer them. Thank you, obviously, for joining us live. So I'm going to go ahead and go into the next one, and then just I'll look out for your questions. Okay, so how would we give them practical steps to rewrite their body story and create a lasting change from the inside out? What would be some practical steps that you can give them, Ramel?
Man, I love doing this. We touched on this a little bit, Francine. So the
Okay.
first thing I want anyone listening to do, the first thing I want you to do, I want you to go to your calendars. Some of you guys are already at this step. I want you to give me 3 days, right? Give me 3 days where you're going to spend an hour, working on getting your body stronger. We're not working on aesthetics here. We're working on getting stronger, cardiovascular, health faster, whatever that is. 3 hours that you're going to give me on that. So now that you got these 3 hours, it might take you some time. I want to make sure that they're outside of your jurisdiction of obligations. And once you have those 3 hours, um, I want you to then find out how much your body needs for protein. And the easiest way to do that is just take your body weight. I know we said we got rid of scales. So if you want to use an estimate or whatever, 150-pound marker, 100 or 200-pound marker, whatever you're closer to, multiply that times 0.8. So that's your protein number. So I know that number might scare you right off the bat, But if we're having a protein, we mentioned protein shakes for nutrition. If we have a protein shake in the morning, that's about 30 to 50 grams. And we have a protein shake in the evening, 30 to 15 grams. Again, we're rewriting the script of nutrition. Um, that can be anywhere from 60 to 100 grams right there. So, based on a 2 or 3 meal nutrition program, this can, making sure we get our protein first, and then filling whatever you want to fill in, fruits, veggies, even if, people, we love alcohol. Francine, we talked about our free, hey, we got free alcohol tickets. So we might as well use them, right? Don't let those things go to waste, right? So let's just make sure we get our protein first.
I
Um,
did do that.
um, Sweets, I've got a six pack. I've had a six pack since I've been 12. I haven't walked past an Oreo a day in my life. But I know I got to get my protein first. I got to, and then I got to make I got to make those adjustments. If I call those baller purchases for my ladies. If we're going to have alcohol, if we're going to have cake, if we're going to have cheesecake, if we're going to have things that only serve entertainment purposes, we call those baller purchases. Let's make up for them. The next morning, let's go for a walk, or let's go for a fast. Let's fast the next
Oh
meal to kind
yeah,
of give our body
fasting.
to, I'm a big fan of intermittent fasting. If you can fast for anywhere from 8 to 24 hours, I do 3 day fasts all the time for cleansing, dropping
That's
weight.
awesome.
Um, but yeah, find your protein. So we got our days, we got our nutrition right, and just plant the seeds, and then you know play with your garden or your decor as you like. Customize it. Okay, we need a little cardio over here. We need a little mobility over here. We need a little core over here. Whatever that looks like for you. And then you start to customize. And I think that's then when the journey gets fun, when you start to really make it your own.
Yeah. And it's true. And that's what I was like touching on earlier is like really making it your own. You have the ability, you have the option to do that. I think we just got so focused and in our head about what it needs to look like. And if you need help, I'm here, Ramell's here, to kind of give you that guidance or that direction. And just another tip, I've gone into a local like NutriShop and did my body index there, and they told me how much protein I need for my body weight, my size, the whole bit. So even as simple as that, if you don't want to try to figure it out, with the numbers and things. So
Definitely
there's all these
resources.
options. There's these resources available to you. And then Ramel and I will be here working more as we count down to the conference. We're going to be sharing more about the overall fitness and wellness. We may even go live in our Facebook group. So there's just a lot coming, you guys. Stay connected. And I want to first pop in his website so that you guys can connect with him. And let me go ahead and pull that up really quick. So he can be reached at drivenwomencoach.com. You can get in touch with him there. He's on Instagram as well. It's Ramel on Instagram.
I think it's Ramell Taylor 6 on
Um,
Instagram.
yeah,
There's a workshop link to my
there we
Instagram.
go.
I'm doing a workshop. I do a workshop every month. Uh,
Oh, there you go.
have the career, have a nice career with the career, which is a very successful workshop. Love teaching it to women all over the U.S. That'll be on my Instagram and TikTok, and I
What
should
is
be
it
available
called?
on my
Have
website.
a career with the rear?
Have the nice career with the career. Like there's no reason why you can't have them too. There's no reason why your
You
body of work
guys
in the boardroom can't be just as nice in the bikini. So I'm here to
have a
teach my
nice
ladies how
rear
to do
in
that.
the career. Have a nice rear in the career.
That's right.
I'm loving that. That is so awesome. All right, Ramel, any last tips, any books they should read, anything that you feel like, you know what, they need to know this right now, right out the door. Let's go.
I, I mean, you know what? There's
If you
some
covered
great
it all,
books
you're
out.
good.
Yeah, there's some great books out there, great resources. At the end of the day, I just want you to, if they have any message, um, spend time with yourself.
Mm.
There's an old adage: if you don't want to spend time with you, probably nobody else's want to. So really take time and spend time with yourself, um, and learn the ins and outs. I promise, the relationship with yourself is the most important relationship you should have.
Absolutely, 100%. And you guys, community is so important. That's why when I host these events, they're amazing. The conference that is going to be taking place, there's a link, there's a QR code you can scan. Join us. Every time we host these events, they're powerful. We're going to dive into the whole understanding, like we're going to have a reflection process, we're going to go through a reset process, we're going to go through the rise process, and then we're going to show you how to thrive and elevate. So it is going to be powerful. You definitely don't want to miss out, and just make it happen for yourself, because I promise you it is going to be the best event you've ever attended. Because I don't know how many times you've gone to an event and you don't take action. This event is going to make you take action. And so I'm confident in saying that because I know they work. I know these events that we put together work because I have women constantly reaching out to me. When are we going to have another one? When are we going to have another one? So it's here, it's happening, and I'm grateful to be hosting it, and then also having amazing speakers like Ramell coming. So we're going to be announcing our
Thank you.
speakers soon, more of our speakers soon. So be sure that you guys are following us on Instagram. It's going to be Wheela Connects. Sorry, I forgot to add that. But it's going to be on Instagram, and it's going to be instagram.com/Wheela Connects. And all of our conference info is going to be there. So stay tuned. And like I said, you can reach out to Ramell either on his website at drivenwomenscoach.com, or you can reach him on Instagram at Ramell Taylor 6. And remember, he's all about the rear and the career. The rear and the career.
Come on, ladies. I understand. It's you want to look good in your boardroom and your bikini. I understand.
Yes. I want to look good at the conference. I mean, I'm just saying.
Absolutely.
So
Them
yes,
heels.
let's the heels and everything. I don't want to wear heels though. The last time I wore heels, I was just like,
Nobody
oh,
wants
these are
to.
killing me. But
Yeah,
no,
nobody wants to.
but they're good. They're fun. They're fun just for the event. All right, you guys. Well, you didn't have any questions. There were several of you that joined us live. Thank you for those who participated in the chat. I appreciate you. But if you have any questions, you want to reach out personally to Ramell or myself, please do so, you guys. And you can follow me anywhere on social media at Francine Ayala. Just type it in the Google search, and all of my social medias will pop up. So, you guys, we are here to support you. We know that you were meant for more. We know that you're driven and you're going out there to change lives all over the world. And so we want to be here to support you in that process. Until next week, just know that you were meant for more. Thank you, Ramell, for joining me today. And we can't wait to see you guys soon, okay? Take care. Bye.
Cheers.
I want to get to know what you do, what inspires you, what you enjoy. My ability to lead really impacts women on a larger level because not every woman has the same story or the same journey. So understanding where they've come from and where they want to go helps me be the leader that I can so that I can show up in a space of authenticity for them.